Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. I'm back. I'm a little early tonight. I had it scheduled for 7 o'clock initially. Then I was thinking 8 o'clock. And I am thinking I'm going to go to work a little earlier tonight because of the elements of the weather. I got a text message last night about work. So something's telling me I'm going to have to go to work a little earlier this evening to keep my sanity. Therefore, while I'm here, doing my live stream tonight a little earlier than expected. So here I am, and so I'm glad y'all can make it and all that. So here on the chat line we have Miguel. Glad to see you here, and we have CBC Voter. How are you doing today? Last night we had Warren and Lainey from The Undercurrent, and we had a good old time. Found out that all three of us were born like a month apart from each other. We're not only three Generation Xers. Warren was born in January, and Lainey was born in February, and I'm born in March. So imagine that. So anyway, and it sounds like they're going to be appearing on my birthday live stream, which will be on March 5th this year. So last year it was on March 4th. Why was on March 4th instead of March 5th, which was on my birthday? Because last year, March 5th was Ash Wednesday, and I would look pretty damn weird celebrating my 56th birthday and drinking and yucking it up. Yoo-hoo! With an ash cross on my forehead. So I had to kind of bump it a day earlier, understood. So that's what happened with me. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, happy Wednesday. Yep, it sure is. So right now, a funny story happened also, or a couple hours earlier. I went to grab my pharmacy and I was laughing at the 8 medications that I bought. And I thought to myself, I bought $80 worth of medication. It's like some of it actually I don't really super need, but it was just like I just thought about it. It's like, wow, eight of them. That's like, and I'm like in my mid-50s. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, imagine how much medication I'm going to need in the next 20, 30 years. It's like, wow, I better get myself healthier real quick. No, I'm hoping I'm going to weed off of it. That is my hope. Some of them I'm hoping I'm going to weed off of. And again, some of them I don't really need. I choose to be on some medication. So there is also that. So be it as it may. So 2 different blood pressure medicines. If I know that in itself I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. There's just no if, ands, or buts about it and everything. And just some other medications. Surgery will take care of that eventually. So as I said, I'm making it sound worse than it actually is. It's just not that bad. It's just but man, 8 different medications, 8 different prescriptions. It's like, wow, that's just too much. Anyway, let's talk about the subject at hand, because we have a culture war. And it's just, and it's just what we have been seeing lately. It's just been very depressing. And I again, I'm in my mid-50s. And with 5 years left before I retire, and just I'm wondering what the hell our societies is. It's just like the foundations of our society is just crumbling down. And what I read online every day, and just seeing people with closed minds. I mean, just and how they develop what they see, and just seeing people like Petrie and Good in Minnesota getting slaughtered by these ice thugs, and people thinking like they're glad, and they're viewed as domestic terrorists right there before your very eyes. And these are the same people that they're like, use the language about the guns, Second Amendment, and there are these January 6th rallies and the Tea Party rallies and all kinds of patriot rallies, and they're armed to the teeth, don't you dare touch my guns attitude. And they had this attitude, and they, when they're running for Congress or what have you, I hated to talk about it in terms of Democrat versus Republican, but when they're running for Congress, they're talking like that they want to really harm your opponents, harm you for not being the way they are politically. I mean, that is how they project things. Nico House kind of said it the other day. It's kind of like, paraphrasing him, but he was like, the Democrats may want to take your guns away, but the Republicans, it's like they want to, I'm going to have to edit myself, unalive you for it. They want to permanently make you, extinct you permanently for, legally having a gun that you're not even using. So, and I'll put it another way. Let me put it another way. The thing about it is the difference between the left and the right. And while I think that the left morally are superior to the right, and it comes down to this. And when I say this, I don't mean to be negative. I don't mean to be negative. So anybody who lurks on here, hearing what I have to say, that may think that may be right-leaning or what have you, I want to say it like it is. If you're a conservative, if you're a Republican or what have you, I'm not going to sit there and hate somebody because they are a conservative, or they're conservative on this issue or that issue, or they're conservative across the board. I am not that guy that sits there and hates somebody because they're a conservative, generally speaking. I am not that guy. I've never been that guy. Really, I have never been that guy. And I will make that clear. Sometimes I get irritated with certain policies that pisses me off. Sure, I get a little hot-headed. But I'm not that person that hates somebody because how they necessarily vote. I despise certain politicians. But that they're the ones causing the harm, not my neighbor per se. Now, when that neighbor gets elected and they're actually doing the policy, that's a whole different ballgame. But here's the thing. No, I'm not going to hate you because you disagree with me. But usually, it is people on the right. I'm talking about the hard right. That has this mentality, and they accuse I'm going to use a very decade-old kind of general stereotype. They say this about the blue hairs and the purple hairs and the rainbow color hair kids on the college campus. There's this trope that they keep using that's really just not even all that. It's kind of like in some old get off my lawn person in 1983 is thinking of beatniks in 1963 in college. That's what it's kind of like. That's what it's kind of like that. It's like, it's not 1963 and the beatniks are not banging on bongos in some club somewhere in Greenwich Village anymore. You do know that, right? But that's what it's come down to. So some old fucker in Oklahoma or Texas watching decided, well, Fox News is just not strong enough for me. I'm going to go watch Newsmax, or I'm going to sit there and watch. I'm going to watch One American News Network from sun up to sun down, and just sit there and not just only be entertained by this crap, this slop, this misinformation, but I'm going to sit there and just get myself not just entertained by it, but the entertainment also becomes the anger fuel. That's what it is. It's like anger fuel. The outrage. It's outrage porn. It's like, I want to be angry. Give it to me. Give it to me. It's the adrenaline. I want to be angry. Please give it to me. Take some isolated case of some silly person that's nominally on the left doing something silly or something, or make it up. You don't even have to. You don't have to take an isolated case. Just go ahead and make some lie up and say, well, this represents what they all believe. There's no nuance. They're all like this. They all do this. And then you got some old fucker watching it on the news, and they're just like angry. And they're just like, those goddamn progressives. I just want to go and do bad things to them. That's what happens. And they're just angry. And then they're just waiting to find somebody who may be a progressive that's near them, or somebody who's a little more moderate, so they could just kind of verbally or just figuratively speaking, just rip a vein off their neck or something. It gets them off. It is just amazing. And so they get angry, and then they vote against their economic interests. Not that I'm saying voting for the Democrats will save them. In fact, I'm not saying that. I am not saying that, because voting for the Democrats, I used to believe years ago, when I was in my late teens and my early to mid 20s, and even to some extent, right up into maybe right up to my 30s, maybe up to my mid 30s, as a part-time voter to the Democrats. Even though I was independent and voting third party, I would make a case for voting for, I will always make a strong case for voting for a third party. I mean, there was no question. There was a third party, if there was a Green Party person on the ballot or independent person on the left versus a Democrat and a Republican, no question about it, that left-wing person will get my vote every time. If they're available, I will vote for them. But if it was just a Democrat and Republican, I settled for harm reduction if that was all there was. That was kind of my thing right there. But I no longer believe in harm reduction. And so maybe instead, some people said I was an accelerationist. Some people say, if anything, maybe I was what you would call a modified accelerationist. Maybe you can say that, or a relative, a modified accelerationist. By being a part-time, independent, part-time duopoly enablers. But I got to the point where I would say after Bernie, I'm going to repeat myself, but after Bernie got fucked over twice, we're talking about, and I mean, am I going to sit there and talk about Bernie for the rest of my life? But, and I know why I'm talking about Bernie after almost basically going 6 years after he dropped out. He shouldn't even be fucking relevant anymore. He really shouldn't be relevant anymore. And but we're talking, and I'm not the only one still talking about Bernie these days. But the thing is that when Bernie dropped out, just I'm realizing that we're talking about somebody that and I respectfully disagree with a lot of good people. A lot of my peers who may think that he was trying to take radical energy back into the Democratic Party. I always disagree with that. I think he was trying to do some kind of movement, but the Democratic Party itself is a brick wall. The Democratic Party is a brick wall, and it's not just controlled opposition. The Democratic Party is the opposition. It is the opposition itself. It is the second brick wall to getting things done. It's an illusion. It is an illusion. It is this graveyard where all the good ideas, die, basically. And it has been that way, especially since, especially looking back in history, it's been that way since Walter Mondale got defeated in 1984. I would say after Walter Mondale got defeated in 1984, looking back, there was no hope for the Democratic Party. I mean, I voted for, my first vote was for Michael Dukakis in 1988. Michael Dukakis, I voted for him, and I don't regret my vote for Michael Dukakis still to this day, although he's not what I thought he was. And I would say that I don't regret my vote because he was, as far as the duopoly, he was probably in my voting lifetime, my voting lifetime since the age of 19 in 1988. That was my first vote for president. He was probably the most left-wing candidate that the Democrats have to offer since I started voting for presidents. From Dukakis, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, John Kerry, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of them. Michael Dukakis was probably the most left-wing of them all. Not very charismatic, not even all that ideological, to tell you the truth. He was not even all that ideological. He didn't have no passion. He didn't have any charisma. He was relatively centrist in many ways, but he was probably on the policy side of the situation, and not even all that enthusiastic. But it was just he came out of an era of the Democratic Party which was further left, so he was just naturally inclined to believe in those positions. Now, I do think that he probably went along with the Clintonistas, and he became more centrist later on. So who's to say what would have happened if he would have gotten elected president or what have you? I don't know. But when Bill Clinton took over the Democratic Leadership Council in 1989, we saw what happened with the Democratic Party. It became garbage. I mean, and I think it took people many years to realize this. Going back in history and all of that. And I didn't support Bill Clinton in the primaries, but I voted for him in 1992. And I learned quite a bit about politics. I had quite an awakening back then. But here's the thing: Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton both play an important role in this country shifting to the far to the right. I thought that we were going to put a halt on the furthering of the right in this country of Reagan and Bush. Ronald Reagan and George Bush, 12 years of that shit, I thought at least was going to be slowing down. My early 20s, I was wondering, why is nothing being put to a stop? I mean, why is nothing fundamentally being put to a stop? Well, I mean, nothing is slowing down. I mean, maybe a few little tweaks here and there, but why are we not seeing any? I mean, and I was like, I was in my early 20s, and I'm just like, just thinking, why are we not seeing any like real labor like a resurgence of a labor movement or anything like this? I mean, and it just occurred to me, when I was in the College Democrats, how everybody was like, all about, pro-business and they themselves were telling me, we're not that Democratic Party anymore. I remember in 1995 when the election in 1996 coming up, the one area where me and the rest of the College Democrats, we did agree, was we needed to go and get rid of Jesse Helms for the U.S. Senate. We wanted Jesse Helms gone. I mean, we were all on that page. If there was anything we agreed on that. But with the defeat of the Clinton healthcare plan, which I didn't support the healthcare plan of Hillary Clinton because it wasn't single payer. I was like, what the hell is this slop? You keeping the insurance companies in there? I had enough sense to know that's not the way to go. I took a class, took a political science class that kind of helped radicalize me at that time, and I knew that this was not the way to go. So it was the college Democrats at that time, and the Republicans took over the House and the Senate, and everybody was just like, we got to go for the right. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but they said, we got to move more toward the center. That's what they said. Even on the most local level, they were saying this shit. And so they were talking about supporting the CEO of a local pharmaceutical called of Glaxo Wellcome, Charles Sanders. And I was like, well, what about Harvey Gantt? Oh, he's too liberal. I mean, Harvey Gantt was not a far lefty. Harvey Gantt, perhaps he was, more liberal than Charles Sanders, but he's not a far leftist, but they were like, he's too liberal. What they were kind of hinting at was, and they weren't racist. They really weren't, but they were just thinking, oh, let's go and get a safe gray hair white guy to go and up against Jesse Helms. Now, I'm not into identity politics. My problem, I don't care if Charles Sanders is a gray hair white guy. Like I don't care if Harvey Gantt was a black guy. I care about policy. And on the policy side, Harvey Gantt was better for me. He was better. He was just better. Like when I was supporting Bernie over Hillary in 2016, it didn't matter to me that Hillary had a pussy. I cared about the policy, which Bernie was better on. I didn't care if Bernie's Jewish. I care about his policy. That's all that matters to me. That is all that matters to me. I don't care what you are. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what religion you belong to. I don't care about what race or ethnicity. I look at you as an individual. And if you're correct on the policies, and your policy is going to make everybody's lives better, everybody, and everybody means everybody, then, we're all doing better. We're all doing better. I know, very class reductionist of me. And when in some liberal circles, that makes me just a piece of shit. I know that. And I do admit I have class reductionist tendencies. Does not make me not care about disenfranchised groups. I'm not going to say, fuck the marginalized. I would never say that. That's not me at all. But to the right, being a class reductionist makes you rainbow woke as hell to them. Fuck them. I'm not there to please them. But here's the thing about the right. I may despise these people who want to harm me because I believe that everybody ought to have health care. But what makes the left better than the right, and we're not the same, is that with these people on the right, as horrible as they are, I do, at the end of the day, want them to have a living wage job. And I want them to have preferably a unionized living wage job, because their jobs and they have an asshole for a manager or whatever, and they are unfairly written up or unfairly fired. I want them to have the recourse to get their jobs back. If they get sick and they need an operation, they need their medicines, and they what have you, I want them to go to a doctor or get their medical procedure done or get their medication and get it done at a very low price or free as possible. Free. Like it's done in many countries around the world. I want them to have long paid vacation times, 5, 6, 7 weeks off, like it's done in a lot of countries in Europe. And for them to retire at an early age with dignity. And for their little shits for children to go and get free college. I don't want them to impose their hatred on others that they hate and make their lives miserable. I don't want them to impose their horrible policies, their bigotries. The phone's going off. Give me a second. Sorry about that. That was the alarm on the phone. Yeah, I don't want them to impose their bigotries on people. I mean, if you hate gay marriage or you don't agree with gay marriage, I mean, I don't think you should be punished for your terrible views on it. Allow same-sex couples to get married. Don't physically stop them from getting married. I have a problem with that. If your church your church, you got a right to have your religious views about whatever, but you don't have a right to stop a same-sex couple from being married. You don't have a right to tell an adult person that they should be forbidden from transitioning their gender. You do not have that right. You do not have that right. You do not have that right to sit there and to forbid a person who is Islamic from immigrating to the United States. You do not have that right. So that's basically what I'm saying here. And you do not have that right, state governments, to punish people who want to go and boycott Israel because Israel is committing I'll say it, committing post-birth abortions on children in Gaza. All the people who want to say the little babies, the babies, abortion. They love post-birth abortions by the idea in Gaza. But they would recoil at the one good thing about Israel, which is the free medical care. They hate that, I'm sure. But they love what the IDF is doing to the kids in Gaza. Isn't that crazy? But the thing is, by all means, get have that middle class life, But just stay the hell away from me as far as making my life miserable with your irritating, hateful bullshit nonsense. That's basically what I'm saying. And that's why I say, we're not the same. Because they want to hurt the left. They really do. I mean, as I say, I don't like the blue state, red state argument. I don't like it because it sounds like I'm defending Democrats when I'm not. I'm defending labor. I'm defending states that don't have the death penalty. I'm defending states that states that that don't have censorship. I'm defending states that don't sit there and monitor your Facebook, Twitter posts. I'm defending states that don't sit there and arrest you when you go leave a state so you can go get an abortion, and then they chase you into another state and have you arrested for it, or you go and leave the state to go get, transition, and they arrest you in another state for it, or reintroduce indentured servitude like they're doing in Alabama. We're not the same. But you know what? We're not the same because I'm consistent. I'm not an Alex Jones fan. And Alex Jones is a fucking joke. Once in a while, he will say something that might be accidentally correct. And there was even a time when the Young Turks were based that he shared an audience, believe it or not. That was like 20 some years ago. I can't believe I'm calling that 20 years ago or almost 20 years ago. Around 2010, 2011, I saw a video from him. And he might have halfway meant it back then. I don't think he means it today. He's been bought by Trump, and he's just a cranky old Republican, no different from a Rush Limbaugh type today. So anything that was positive about Alex Jones was from another time period. And I'm not sitting there necessarily praising him as a general rule. So anybody who's thinking that, please, please, please do not interpret it as that. I'm trying to make a point. That's all. But I will do the impression of him. So be prepared. So he was talking about Michael Savage one day and Sarah Palin, something about Sarah Palin. And if I remember correctly, it was something about, he said something praising Sarah Palin. It was over Barack Obama or something like that. It was Alex Jones. And Alex Jones said something along the lines that when he was anti-Bush and all that, and he was like, it was something along the lines of, well, when George W. Bush was president, I was on the side of liberty, and Michael Savage was on the side of tyranny, referring to George W. Bush, because Alex Jones was anti-Bush at that time. So he was on the side of tyranny. And now that we got Obama as president, now he's joined me on the side of liberty. And now we're both on the side of liberty. But in 2012, when Sarah Palin becomes president, he will start to side on the side of tyranny again, and I will remain on the side of liberty. And I will always remain on the side of liberty while all these other people will say, on the side of tyranny. You know, it would be something like that. You know, it would be, you know, that's, here's the thing. On the flip side, that's kind of how I am on the left. I don't go and change my tune because a Democrat's in the White House, but I fucking mean it. That's the difference. And you know, right now, you know, I remember when the government's misinformation board or whatever, the Ministry of Truth was created, and all these people on the right were so upset, and sky was falling. And I was with them. I was with them at the time. They were right. I heard hardly any liberals or anybody on the left. I heard the Gray Zone talk about it. They were correct. Kyle Kalinske was talking about it somewhat, and he was correct. And Farron Cousins was talking about it. I think that they were the main ones that were talking about it, and they were correct to call out on it. If there was anybody else, those were the main ones I heard talking about it. Didn't hear anybody else talking about it. I heard the right wing raging about it nonstop. And the right were right to rage about it. They were right. I'm not going to even fault with them. They were absolutely right. They were right about it. But I can guarantee you that if Biden's disinformation governance board would have been a thing and they would have been using it and Trump would have been president, you think that Trump and company would be dismantling it? Hell fucking no. They would be using it, and they'd be using it more aggressively. Because all the motherfuckers that they're sitting there denouncing the disinformation governance board back then, these are the same motherfuckers who says jack shit about Palantir, which is just as bad in a different way. Using AI through eyes to sit there and monitor all Americans. And they are not saying shit about it. And maybe there are some libertarian-minded people out there. Maybe your Dave Smith might complain about it. Maybe Ron Paul would complain about it. And I'm calling them out because I think they probably would complain about it. I think they're the types that would complain about it. And they're going to be consistent and good for them for doing so. But you know, you're not going to hear Sean Hannity or this is the sort of thing that Alex Jones would have been complaining about 20 years ago. He would have complained about it. He would probably have been complaining about it under any other Republican other than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump, for some reason, got some kind of fucking spell on him. What the fuck? You know? But here's the thing. All these Republicans getting mad, not talking shit. I mean, getting mad over disinformation governance board being silent on Palantir. I got news for them. They're not going to be in power forever. unless some state governors and legislatures sit there and rig the election, and we have a full-on dictatorship, which I think that's what they do want. And I think it is possible they could achieve it, but I think it's more likely that we will get back to normal. And my prediction is that Trump might not. He's not exactly. Anybody who sits there down 2 Big Macs and a fish fillet sandwich from McDonald's and swig down some Diet Coke, a large Diet Coke, at the age that he's doing it and at the weight that he is, with the splotches that's in his hands and him just looking like shit all the time. He can have. I know he can afford all the medical care in the world. You're the president. They can keep you alive, but they can't keep you alive forever. And there's just so much you can do to maintain your own health. You got to go and do your part too. And he ain't that far removed from being the size of William Howard Taft at times. He might be he's probably the second fattest president we ever had. My point is this, I don't like J.D. Vance. I think he's a piece of shit, but I mean, I do think that once he kicks them, once Trump is pushing daisies, he probably would be back to normal, maybe. Bad normal, or normal I wouldn't like, but I do think that, and I think that he would be defeated in an election. I think he would defeat, the likelihood of probably, I think if Gavin Newsom runs, it'd be super close, but I think that he would win, or someone like that. I think it's likely we'll have a Democratic president in the next election winning, if they get their shit right. They go and reintroduce Kamala Harris, they'll lose. If they do something stupid and they run some candidate like Kamala Harris or someone like that again, they'll lose. But but the point I'm trying to make is that the Democrats win in a very likely victory in 2028. They will probably, they'll probably take the fascism that Trump and his Project 2025 crew built and work on it and use it. And you're going to hear the people on the right scream like it was never done before. Like it was just like, this is out of the blue. What are they doing to us? This was never done. This is the first time it was ever done. Give me a break. And people are going to act like this has never been done before. That they increased censorship, like it was like all of a sudden censorship has been introduced to American society. We've never had this done before, when it was just a continuation under Trump. It's just that the victims were new. Now, again, I would not want that to happen, not even for these freaks. But the thing is, I've seen this happen over and over again, and each administration, the authoritarianism gets to be more and more. And I used to hear during the Obama years from some more well-meaning libertarian types, they will feed me this bullshit line that the more economic involvement in the more governmental involvement in the economy means more authoritarianism. And I never really bought that, because corporations and even anarcho-capitalism is basically private interests driving our governments to stay out of the way. So it's really, you're just having an oligarchy bribing politicians to allow private capital to run things. So it never really made any sense to me when they'll say things like that. And I always said, with due respect to libertarians, I mean, I like the libertarians on a few things. And if I really did believe in capitalism, and I thought that capitalism could self-behave, I guess I could be a libertarian because of the social issues aspect of it. But I just don't. I don't have faith in capitalism. I just don't. In fact, I'm having less and less faith. I used to believe in a regulated system, and I'm just not buying it anymore. And so, but anyway, it sounds like I'm rambling. It's just these thoughts I just want to kind of get out of my chest. I've been thinking this lately, and just I'm glad y'all listening to me. So, thank you for that. And some people's like, you think too much about this. I guess I do. But anyway, but I get told that, about this. But, right now, I mean, with Trump getting elected, we're seeing aspects of the New Deal being taken away from us. I mean, I retire in 5 years, but I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen with Social Security in some aspects. So, and anyhow, let's see where we have here on the chat line. Let's see. Warren, that's my fault. I kind of changed the time because I'm going to work earlier this evening. So it's not the stupid YouTube. It's stupid me that did that. So that's what happened. So I just needed to get a video out tonight, and that's what happened with me. So, and I was running some errands, and that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing right now at this time. So anyway, so as I said, right now, we're living in the second Gilded Age, and the New Deal's what remained from the New Deal is evaporating before our very eyes. And so, I guess I sometimes I debated whether I should call myself the black pilled socialist. Because I'm kind of sometimes I'm just like, man, I give up. I'm kind of nihilistic at times too. So I don't know. So what do y'all think? I mean, it's just like I'm just look at our society as just like why we can't have nice things. It's frustrating, and just like why we're so fucking special in a negative way that we get the raw end of the deal, whereas other countries, they get it and they know what we can do to make their societies better. But what we get here, we get police and we get ICE, cracking skulls on the streets. Other societies, they get health care to their people. It's quite baffling. It really is. So let's go ahead and talk to everyone here on the chat line, shall we? And as I said, I'm gonna probably go shortly because I got some stuff. I have to eat dinner and go take care of some stuff tonight. So Lurley says, the truth of the matter is that my policies are so mainstream that if I had to set the same policies I had back in the 80s, I would be considered a moderate Republican, Obama. And that is true. And that is the result of Clintonism. Bill and Hillary Clinton Reaganized the Democratic Party in the 1990s with the Democratic Leadership Council. Now, some people say, well, where the hell is the Democratic Leadership Council? Where are they? They're not in existence anymore. They've been absorbed into the Clinton Foundation. But they set the stages where they've had all the people you imagine taking over the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. And so I just like it, just the Democratic Party is just a graveyard, and it's an illusion that you can get things, done. Now, when Democrats introduce good bills in Congress, and it happens every once in a while, sure, I want those good bills to pass. And once in a while, when a good bill passes in Congress, hooray when it happens. If a minimum wage increase happens, of course I'm going to be happy. If whatever kind of bill that happens, that's going to have some progressive outcomes. It's far and few in between, but when it happens, is going to be happy about it. So anyway, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. All right. Yeah, Upscroll. I've been trying to get up on Upscroll, and I'm going to work on it. Maybe, hopefully, by tomorrow or Friday, I'll get up on it. I was having trouble signing on, so I'm going to try to figure it out when I get time. When I get time. What the hell happened here? Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. All right, the chat line thing. Give me a second. I'm assuming it's kind of like Twitter. So let's see. Nice vibe compared to Twitter for sure. Upscroll. I know that Warren's on Upscroll, and Jackie is on Upscroll, and some others are on Upscroll. I'm just like, if all the cool people are on Upscroll, that means I got to be on Upscroll. So I'm going to try to get on Upscroll. So the right-wing survival of the fittest mantra is not only hypocritical, it is outdated. So much of it is outdated. Their rhetoric is outdated, but they keep using it so much. Boom, boom, out goes the lights. Hey, Max Sargay, how are you doing today? And Fingerman, how are you today? It's another Panquake or Rock Filmsy. Look under the hood, folks. I try to have some hope with Panquake. I mean, the way they talk about Panquake, it just gives me, I try to have hope. I keep on thinking Panquake will pull through somehow. I try to keep thinking that. So I kind of try to keep thinking that. And I have thought, wouldn't it be awesome if Panquake can find its way to tell people to go into MySpace, go in there. A lot of lefties go into MySpace. We have our own community, and somehow the Panquake people can act like Trotskyites and work into MySpace, take that motherfucker over, and I know it won't happen. Wishful thinking. Let's see. All right. Okay. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah. As I was saying, I'm that's pretty much what I have to say right now. And just, I mean, the right wing, they hate all of us, and our hatred toward them, for the most part, is righteous and justified. And again, the difference is that we may hate them back, but but we're better. We're pretty much better than they are, and because we still want them to have health care. Is basically what it is. We still want them to have good jobs, and all that, and we want their free speech, their shitty speech protected. So even though they would shut us up in a heartbeat and put us in jail in a heartbeat, we don't believe that their civil liberties ought to be violated. We believe they ought to have due process, even though they don't think we should. And that's what makes us better, because I do believe that y'all believe what I believe in that regard. I kind of do. So as I was saying to Warren and Laney last night, that I enjoyed the size of this community. So I came into this thing 6 years ago, wanting to be the next Kyle Kulinski, the next Jimmy Dore, the next Sam Cedar, the next back then, the next David Pakman. I'm sorry I had to say that, but I don't listen to David Pakman anymore. I promise. He was one of the first people I stopped listening to in that field. The next whoever, the next Amazing Atheists, the next Bosch, next, and I gave up on a lot of those folks. The next Shank, the next whatever. And I'm happy being where I'm at right now. I am happy in this relatively small space. I'm not a grifter. And so, well, would I welcome having a larger audience? Yeah, I would turn it down, but I'm not out there for clicks and out there to get 5 million subscribers. No, I'm not. If I get it tomorrow, I wouldn't be mad about it, but I'm here to talk to y'all and have conversation and because I love politics and love even if the topics are kind of gloomy at times, it just it's sort of my outlet out there for all that that is wrong with the world at times, and sometimes good things happen, even though it's a small breadcrumb. Seeing Greg Bovino getting canned was a good thing the other day. So, but anyhow, I am going to go. So, I didn't really have a lot of fancy pictures to show or videos. Didn't really have a lot of didn't have articles to submit or anything like that. It was just some random thoughts in my head tonight. I just wanted to share that with y'all, and that was pretty much it. Just things that I just think about, almost on a daily basis. Just wanted to rant. So, and that's basically what it came down to. So if you like what you heard, please press like and comment any ways you disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share any content I have here. And as a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Reject corporate media. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms, and remember to free Nicolas Maduro. No matter where you stand on him. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all. Keep our First Amendment free, and of course, fuck ICE. Fuck Kristi Noem. Fuck Steve Miller. And fuck Tom Homan, the human thumb. And of course, fuck Donald Trump. And while we're at it, fuck Chuck Schumer and fuck Hakeem Jeffries. And fuck Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi and all of them. They're really not that much better anyway as well. So I'm not a partisan hack. I hate them all. I certainly do. So y'all take care. And oh yeah, fuck Elon Musk, rat. Yeah, fuck him too. Okay, y'all take care. Good night. I'll see y'all later. And yeah, fuck Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah, probably more than anybody else. I would say fuck Benjamin Netanyahu. Good night, folks.